So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and welcome to the MacBook Pro 13-inch 2017 versus the MacBook Pro 15-inch 2015. Which one should you buy? Now, I've been getting this comment from quite a few subscribers because they were aware that I now use this MacBook Pro for travel videos when I'm out on the go. And this one never leaves the office here, this MacBook Pro. So these are the two Macs I use. I don't use the 27-inch Retina 5K, which I am going to be upgrading to next year. But for now, I'm using these two guys right here. So let's begin with the specifications. So I'm going to put this one off to the side for just a second. This is the 15-inch, and we have our 13-inch over here. So this 13-inch MacBook Pro here on the left is probably one that I've really enjoyed in terms of using it for traveling. But specifications, let's get into that right here. So in terms of specifications, you are going to get yourself a 2.3 gigahertz dual-core 7th generation Intel Core i5 series processor. This is the 128 gigabyte version. This is $12.99. Now they can be upgraded to $14.99, as well as they can be upgraded all the way up to a little bit over $1,800 with tax. And the maxed out version, you're looking at $2,000 for a 13-inch maxed out version. So this device right here can get up there in its price point, but the one I got here, like I say, it does have 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigabyte SSD, and Intel Iris Graphics 640, and it has 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports or USB-Cs. I'll show you those in a second here. But this thing has been fantastic when it comes to speed. But anyway, let me go ahead and show you those. So on the base model, you only get 2 USB-C ports here. Taking it over all the way to the other side, just a headphone jack, but at least they included a headphone jack here. That would have been horrible if we didn't have a headphone jack on our MacBook Pro for 2017. Now over here on the right side is the 2015 MacBook Pro. So this one has been my workhorse for the channel. I pretty much edit all my videos on here. As a matter of fact, I'm going to edit this video you're seeing right here, shot on the LG G6 on this computer here. So let me read off, some of the specifications that I wrote down on this one. So this one does feature a 2.2 gigahertz quad core Intel Core i7. This has a 4400 series like HQ. So that's a quad core in here versus a dual core setup here on a 13-inch. 16 gigs of RAM, 256 gigabytes of solid state storage, and Intel Iris Pro graphics with 2 Thunderbolt 2 ports. So this has USB 2.0, not the, or 3.0, not the USB-C ports, but this one is loaded with ports here, and this is definitely my favorite MacBook of the two, regardless of the newer design on the 2017. So you can see right here, it is going to give you a MagSafe connector, and this has been phenomenal. I've really loved MagSafe. You get your Thunderbolt 2 ports here, and you get your USB-C, or not USB-C, your USB 3.0 port there. You do get a headphone jack here. So going over to the other side right here, now this one is a lot heavier. It's about 4 pounds versus 3 pounds over here on this MacBook, and it is definitely felt. Over here, you do get your SD card reader and an HDMI port, as well as another USB 3.0 port. So keep that in mind. So that's pretty much the specifications between these two MacBooks. Now let's talk about another section. So confirming the price here for the 13-inch, you can see it's $12.99, or you can do a special financing plan. But heading over here to the 15-inch model, this is actually still for sale. If you go into an Apple store right now, it's going to run you definitely less than the newer ones, but it's going to start at $19.99. So quite a bit steeper if you go the traditional route. Now, if you guys do decide to go to somewhere like eBay, which is a secondhand source, third party, you're going to get this computer used. But the MacBook Pro 2015, let's go back here. Let's do that again. The MacBook Pro 2015 is going to run you right around $1,200 as well. You're going to have to bid for it. If you put buy it now, I've seen them for about, I'm going to say $1,300. And if you can go to swappa.com, websites like that, you can find this MacBook secondhand for around the same price. And that's another reason why I'm comparing these guys here. But one thing I want to talk about, after this price section is displays. So let's talk about displays now. So the MacBook Pro 13-inch is obviously going to give you a 13-inch display here, and it's a Retina panel. So opening it up again, it does go up to 500 nits on the brightness. So it definitely gets brighter than this screen. So even though I do love the 15-inch. I don't like the small size for, doing heavy work. It's a great travel companion. This screen is phenomenal here on the 13-inch. And I think if you're going just straight up for screen quality, it's better calibrated than the 15-inch. And it gets brighter. So to me, to my eyes, even though it's a smaller screen, this computer has the better screen. Now, don't get me wrong. You do have a large 15-inch Retina screen here, but the nits of brightness just isn't as high. And if you do use your computer, in brightly lit areas, this is definitely going to show. So that one's a better computer if you're out and about, using it in the tea shop or whatever. But at nighttime, both of these computers are going to be fantastic. And these Retina displays on here are some of the best of the best. They just look incredibly clear, incredibly sharp, and unlike pretty much any other laptops on the market. I think XPS gets close to these, but definitely these are the gold standard when it comes to laptop displays. But out of these two, if you were choosing based on display, I'm going to have to give the win here to the 13-inch MacBook Pro for just having a better balanced calibrated display as well as a brighter display on the nits. Okay, guys, now we're going to talk a little bit about software here. Now, in terms of software, both of these have the identical software. They're running macOS Sierra. They're going to be updated to macOS High Sierra later this fall when iOS 11 drops with the iPhones. And the software on here, macOS, is super smooth. It works pretty much perfect for creative work as well as school work. So if you're going to school and you're picking one of these up, these things are going to be extremely reliable. Updates aren't a nuisance. They don't really get in your way. So I think overall, the displays here, along with the software, make these both compelling options. Now, running macOS on the larger screen seems to be more enjoyable because you have a little bit more space to move things around here. So if you are for example, if you're in your calendar here and you want to do the split screen mode here on the Mac, you just got a little bit more screen real estate. That one's not available in this option, but you have more screen real estate to play around with here on the 15-inch MacBook versus this guy, which also pretty much does the same thing, but at the same time, having a smaller screen display definitely doesn't add up to a better multitasking experience. So doing things like this, it's going to be easy to do on both, but it's just a little funner to do on this one because there's more space. Now, in terms of the trackpads, these things right here, this one right here is really large. So when you're doing trackpad gestures, this is where the 13 shines. So if you're not a person who uses a mouse a lot, I think the 13-inch, you're going to love its trackpad. But one area I don't love its trackpad is when you're resting your palms here on a 13-inch, the trackpad gets in the way sometimes. So it's a little bit annoying there with that. So my palms will rest here on the trackpad. Now, if you type like this and you don't put your palms down and rest it on the keyboard, or on the MacBook itself, it's not going to be an issue. But over here on this guy, you can see if I do a text edit, for example, let's go ahead and open up a new document and I say, hey, you can see there's just plenty of space there between the trackpad. So you can keep that in mind as well. Now, both of these utilize a force touch trackpad. So it's kind of like a glass on top with a vibration motor that simulates a click. And it really does feel like that. So when you click, it does feel like, and when it turns off, when you turn off the Mac, it just disables. So it's like you press it, nothing happens. But when it's on, it definitely simulates a click. So overall, the software is great. You're going to get access to the App Store on both of these devices, which is definitely pretty great here. And again, it's Mac. You can't upgrade it too much. It's not going to be the best gaming machine, but it's definitely going to have all your productivity and creative based stuff here on both products. So you're going to love that, whether you go with the 13-inch or the 15-inch. I do think using the software on the 15-inch is more enjoyable because it's like taking your little desktop out on the go, like having an iMac with you. Whereas this one is definitely, it feels like a little laptop. But other than that, software is good on both. Okay, guys, so in terms of performance, both of these guys actually perform really well. This guy has a newer generation processor, but it's not a quad core. So, if you find this one secondhand, you could find this secondhand for the same price as a 2013 new, and you're going to get, better performance here on the 15. So we're going to open up iMovie here, and I don't know what's going on with iMovie over here on this guy unless I already have it open, but you can see even now it's having trouble opening up the iMovie here on the left because this is not the quad core edition. So I don't know what's going on with that, but this guy definitely performs better, and I do most of my editing over here on this MacBook Pro over here because it's faster. So, you know, quad core processor for around the same price point. If you are going to be doing a lot of editing based stuff, this is going to be the better computer right here. If you do a lot of photo editing, you won't need this much power, and that's all you really want it for is photo editing. You're not going to need that much power, and the better calibrated display is going to be better on this one. So if you're just going to be editing photos, I would say this one because the screen is a little bit better than this one. But if you're going to be doing video editing, I'd go with this one for power. Now, if you're going to be running heavy programs, you know, a lot of stuff that's going to require the CPU, and you know what you're running, you know if it's going to require the CPU, just go with this one. Even though it's an older processor, it's still faster than this guy. Double the RAM here, and the RAM is upgradable, but it's very hard to do on a Mac to upgrade. You don't want to have to go in and dig around because these things, they're very tricky, and they, you know, out of the box is going to say, a lot of people say they're soldered on, but if you tweak around with it, you can get some RAM in there, but it's just really, really frustrating to try to do that. So definitely go with the option that you want, you know, with the RAM and stuff like that. This guy does come in a 16 gig RAM version, but we're talking about the base models here because the used version of this is in the same price range as this. And that's what I'm trying to get at here. Okay, guys, so in terms of the battery life, I find the MacBook Pro 13-inch over here to be a little bit faster when it comes to the charging, but I don't find it to last as long as the 15-inch. So if you're going to get either one of these, in terms of the battery life, you're going to get better battery life over here on this MacBook. And you can see it's still sitting at 100. It's been sitting at 100 this entire video, whereas this one dropped a few percent here. But battery life on both of these will get you through the full day, but I find this one to be a little bit longer lasting. That's probably due to the larger battery size. And another benefit of the 2015 is that it has the MagSafe charger. So that charger, if you pull the laptop won't fall off the desk or anything like that. So that's a great thing, whereas this one will come falling with you. So you can keep that in mind as well. Both of these perform really good on battery life, however. Okay guys, so let's talk a little bit about portability. So the 13-inch over here, definitely I purchased this for traveling only, and I've used it quite a bit at the Starbucks. I've used it when I went to hotels. This guy right here has been my beast for editing on the go. 8 gigs of RAM with the optimized FCP Final Cut Pro, as well as iMovie, stuff like that. It works well, even with the smaller 128 gig, 8 gig of RAM version. Whereas the MacBook Pro 15, I could definitely feel this one when I used to take it out because I had this one longer than this one. So when it comes down to portability, let me just put it this way. Both of these will fit in a bag and they're not super heavy. Either one of them are not super heavy. But when you do compare this one to this one starts to feel like a tank. So if you're buying for lightness, definitely get the MacBook Pro 13. However, I do want to mention that if you are in the market for a 13-inch laptop, this is not the lightest laptop you can get. It's still got some weight to it. So keep that in mind. This is no iPad even. So if you want the most portable Apple computer, you might want to look at the iPad Pros because they're definitely a lot lighter than the MacBook Pros. Okay guys, so I want to take a quick second to talk about the keyboard feel between these two. So if you do pick up a 2017 edition, you are going to get these butterfly switches, which definitely have been improved over the 12-inch MacBook as well as the 2016 version. There's a little bit more travel on them now. They are very responsive and they feel very modern here for the 2017 edition. However, I think that they aren't the most tactile. They don't feel quite as good as the keys here on this one. These keys just feel luxurious. They have, as you can see, they have nice travel, nice feedback. This is a little bit less feedback here on the MacBook Pro. Just a little bit more over here on the 15th. So overall, in my experience, this has been the better keyboard. I think smaller hands, this is going to be a stretch for you because the distance from the keyboard to the front of the laptop is a little big. So if you got smaller hands, the 13-inch is going to be the better option for you. However, this one has better travel, so I think it's going to be more comfortable on your fingers. My index fingers actually started to hurt a little bit here when using this over the long haul. So typing out long documents is going to be a more comfortable experience on the 2015 editions of the MacBook Pro. So what are my overall conclusions on which one to buy? So this is a tricky one because it really comes down to your needs. Do you want a 15-inch screen? Do you want a 13-inch screen? But if you're watching this video, I'm sure you probably are watching it because you're seeing that you could get this MacBook secondhand for around the same price as a newer MacBook, or maybe you're just considering either a newer MacBook or an older MacBook, and that's what this video was designed for. Now, I'm gonna say it like this. If you guys want something for travel, if you want USB-C ports, if you want a modern look, I think this has a better design than this MacBook. It just looks better, in my opinion, over here than this guy. Now, some people might disagree. They might say, no, well, I love my lit up Apple logo, which you are going to get on here. You can't see that right there, but it is lit up. This is going to light up on the back. You're not going to get a lit up Apple logo on the other one. So keep that in mind. That's just a design cue if you do care about stuff like that. However, if you are going to be purchasing a MacBook for the long haul, I think that, it's better to go with one that has more power. So I would go with this one for the quad core processor. It'll last longer than this guy in terms of performance and power, even though it's an older generation CPU. Now, if you are buying one and you're doing light stuff, I think for college, this might be a better laptop because it's going to be lighter and it's going to be powerful enough to do what you want. So it really comes down to that. Do you want more power? Go with the 15-inch for around the same price as a 13-inch. Do you want looks, design, feel, travel? Go with this guy. That's going to be your boy. And that's pretty much how I assess it. I actually have a need for both of these. I use this guy at the house as my main basic, laptop. This basically replaces my desktop. Then this goes out with me on the go when I travel, go to hotels, go to different cities. This is going to be my laptop for editing. So, and that's even with 8 gigs of RAM. That just goes to show how optimized these things are. Anyways, I hope this video helped you out in deciding between the 2017 MacBook Pro 13-inch and the 2015 MacBook Pro 15-inch. I know it's kind of an odd question, but sometimes that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that odd question of the video no one's making. And if you found it helpful, hit the like button for me. Subscribe to the channel for more tech videos like this. Nick here helping you to master your technology. Be sure to be well and peace.